This is my idea. I don't know how it's going to work out. But change of scenery. We're often, and you're particularly known as the roller guy.
I hate that so much.
We're not just, we love foam rolling, but it's not all we do. And as soon as something comes along that's better, that does exactly the same job, I'm sure it will change.
Yeah.
But it just does such a good job.
It does such an amazing job. And it's if we think about the process of strengthening, it's release off muscles, rolling, lengthen muscles, mobilize joints, activate muscles, strengthen muscles, teach movement skill, do stuff at speed. Like there's all these other, it's at best 1/7 of what we're interested in doing.
Of the process, yeah.
And even on a time basis, even less than that. But it's a super valuable start.
It's just because we do it first, and it's where we start, and because it needs to belong in the start, it just seems like it's the first thing. I thought, I don't want to waffle on too much, I thought we actually talked today, go in depth about why you need it, what it does, and why it's important for not just athletes, but humans going forward.
Yeah.
Mum sent me a photo of it in Body and Soul the other day. Foam rolling way, everyone needs their own ones. Tell the story about how you started the foam rolling process.
Okay, so it's so long ago that I don't remember the story that well. But my friend Nick Conquest showed me a foam roller, and this was back in the they were like these white sort of foam cell ones. And
I have one of those.
And you'd use it for a few months, and it would get a big divot in the middle. And he just told me about it for releasing the lateral aspect of your quad, and I sort of thought, and it just made real sense to me. Like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, well, that makes sense. Because I had the experience of seeing Nick, who's a Chinese medicine doctor and a remedial masseur. When I first started coaching people, I had a fair bit of time on my hands, because when we started, I was busy, and he was just starting his practice as well. And so I got 2 massages a week for a year. Plus Chinese medicine stuff, and I felt that was the year I got accused of being on steroids a couple of times. I never got sick. I trained like a monster, and my body was just constantly in this beautifully recovered state. And so I felt firsthand the benefit of releasing off things. Just every little problem that wanted to rear its head never got a chance to, because it was released.
By the massage, yeah.
Yeah, and so then I thought, well, we can't, and then we both got busy, and so we couldn't do the contra anymore. And most people don't have that kind of opportunity. Like in a perfect world, you have a little entourage, and you have a chef preparing your meals, and you have a masseur following you around, and someone to dry needle you. And
yeah, because that's what ultimately when it all boils down to. That's what foam rolling is. It's cheap, time efficient massage that you can do daily.
Yeah,
that's basically all it is.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so we started doing that, and then I did it intermittently with my athletes. Back when it was just me doing the coaching.
Is this early 2000s?
So yeah, so this would be 2004. Yep. Around 2003. So I started doing it in 2000, and then just got a little, and then it was still kind of remedial. It was like, oh, you've got a lateral tracking patella. We should do some work on that.
Like in the same way we prescribe exercise, we prescribe foam rolling.
Yeah, it wasn't everyone should do it. It was I like doing this, but you know.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I got the gig with the Sapphire. So that was the National Under 21 gig with Gary Fox. Thanks, Gary. Gary stuck his neck out a long way to get me that gig, because that's one of the premier strength and conditioning gigs in basketball at the time. And so I felt like I need to make this program the best in the world so we can do really well. And I just said, okay, what's all the best things we could be doing? I made a list, and I was like, yeah, actually the rolling stuff's pretty important. So I fronted up to the first tryouts with this huge bag of 20 rollers, and the girls were like, what the hell is that? And everyone's like, what is this? Because it was completely foreign, no one had any idea. And I made them do it, and they hated my guts. They just hated me.
Because it hurts.
They were I remember Kayla Francis saying, we're at day 5 of the camp, she's like, I've never been so sore in my life. This is ridiculous. I hate this. But the girls, national team selection, if you say you need to eat broken glass, it's like, okay, what colour? Like, it's just that level of good. So they did it, and they did that combined with the stretching and the activation, so the warm-up 2.0 thing, and had basically a 0 injury rate, 1 silver, did great, and I'd still bump into some of them, and I'd say, I'm still rolling, I'm still doing like that. But it was a proof to me that if you pushed them past the pain barrier of doing it, the benefits were. Like, it was only anecdotal, but it just seemed like that really worked with that campaign. And then I came back and I bumped into Guy Malloy, who at that point is now my boss at Boomers. At that point was coaching the under-18 Vic Metro boys team. So I've just done this stuff with Sapphires, worked pretty well. He's like, oh, awesome, can you come do that with the Vic Metro team? And so we did that. And that was a team that wasn't all that fancied to win, and they won gold. And the other states were all looking at it because they saw them doing the rolling. And a year later, like half the teams are rolling. And then now it's just everyone does it. Yeah. That's the story. Long-winded.
Yeah, but that's how you sort of became the roller guy, because you kind of introduced it to Basketball Victoria in a way.
Yeah.
Now you're rolling out a shot too. So how does it work? What are we doing when we roll? What are we achieving? And
okay, so I think there's a number of things. Number one, you are loosening up gunky bits of fascia, just tight adhesions.
Trigger points.
Trigger points. Well, I think there's a bit of a fascia and a trigger. I think there's sort of two separate things in a sense. And then there's the trigger points. You talk better about trigger points than I do in terms of the...
Yeah, trigger points are as much neural as they are muscular and fascial. Your nervous system your muscle gets overloaded through work, and then it lays down trigger points as like a defense mechanism to like sort of protect itself, to lock down the joint effectively, help stabilize itself. And so what it does is by doing that, the muscle just gets tight and tender. But when we roll it, by putting pressure on it, you effectively send a signal back to the nervous system saying, hey, just chill out here a bit, man. I got this kind of thing. And so if you do that regularly enough, what you do is you take all those trigger points out, along with the smoothing, the fascia and that sort of stuff as well, you can then help the muscle fire better. And if you add in some strength work as well, strength and movement skill training that we then add onto the rolling, you then can get a real significant improvement in your tissue quality, and your range of motion, your joints, your flexibility, your suppleness, and therefore ultimately your injury rate and your performance. Yeah,
and that uniform tissue density, that idea that if I've got a tight section, if I've got a bit of tightness in my hammy and I stretch, well, this section from here to here will stretch really nicely. That section from there to there will stretch really nicely.
Yeah, either side of the knot will stretch, but the middle bit will stay stuck.
The tight bit won't stretch because it's tighter than the other bit, so it just won't loosen up. So you've got to...
Mike Wall used the awesome analogy of if you've got a sheet of like stocking type material, and then you put a piece of tape on it, and you stretch, at the tape it'll rip right next to the edges of the tape, because that's holds that bit down, and then the stress comes either side.
And so if you can undo that, that's going to be great. And I think the results, though, I think have been people that do it consistently. You know, they go away to nationals and they play a huge amount of games in very few days, and they come back and they say, I had zero soreness. Like, not just, I wasn't very sore, but yeah, I played 6 games in 5 days or whatever it is. And I came back and I was tired, but had zero muscular soreness, which is very unusual. And that's not explained by the previous two things. So I think there's also a component of, my suspicion is there's some sort of a nociceptor thing where it's like, you know, when you get inoculated against a virus, you get even a small dose of it. Like, I think this small dose of pressure on our pressure receptors is actually stimulating a healing, an enhanced healing response. That's not proven. That's just...
Well, the part of it that is kind of pretty close to proven is the parasympathetic mode stuff. Yeah. In the same way that yoga and meditation and cold ice baths and stuff like that put your body into parasympathetic mode. By doing this, by rolling, you create blood flow, you lower heart rate. It's kind of like that active recovery in the same way we used to have people sit on the bike for 5 minutes when they finish to cool down. This is now your new cool down in a sense.
Except that, yeah, exactly.
Plus the pressure of the nociceptors.
Yeah. And it's more, some components, like, people used to say they were doing active recovery to get rid of the lactic acid, and that's just rubbish. Like, there are metabolic waste products you're getting rid of, but lactic acid wasn't the thing.
It is a metabolic waste product, but it's not the one that matters.
Yeah.
So yes, you're removing lactic acid. The thing with lactic acid is it correlates with fatigue, but it doesn't actually cause fatigue. So it's sitting there when all the other things that are actually causing fatigue.
And it wasn't causing the soreness.
Yep, exactly.
And it's not, it's lactate rather than lactic acid as well, isn't it?
Like, it depends where it is. It gets a bit messy, that's beyond the scope of today. So, I'm an athlete. Why do I need a foam roll?
Number one, you want to restore imbalances in tight spots. So if you have a tight lateral aspect of your quad, it's going to tend to pull that knee laterally. So it's just long-term knee health.
If you've got a tight glute med, it's not going to activate as well when you land and jump and run. Your knees are going to, femoral control is going to be compromised.
and you want to make your stretching effective. If you want the stretching to actually count, you need to establish uniform tissue density so it can actually work. But the bottom line is, if you want to have a situation where you recover really well, so you can go hard again the next day. So I think that's the biggest thing is roll today so you can perform brilliantly tomorrow as much as it's about performing today.
Yeah, people who roll consistently just don't have DOMs, they don't have that delayed onset muscle soreness that you get after big workouts, and they just, not only the soreness, I think, but they're just fresher faster.
Yeah.
The nervous system seems almost magical. They seem to recover their nervous system quicker, and they'll return to baseline where they're ready to hit things hard again quickly.
Because the active rolling has shunted them from sympathetic nervous system, where they're in fight or flight, which is how sport has you.
That's what you want in a workout?
Into parasympathetic, rest and digest, where you just chilled out and your body's just started the recovery process.
Speaking of athletes, would you care to join us, Maddie?
Come join Random Thoughts. Special guest on Random Thoughts.
Do I need to go roll?
You can join a ball?
grab a roller.
Thank you.
So Maddie, before you started with us, 2 years ago now? A year ago?
2 years.
Yes, this is
Yeah.
our second season.
You hadn't rolled much before, had you?
I hadn't rolled once. Yeah, I bought my first roller first year I was at Boomers.
Yeah, that's cool.
Can't say I enjoyed it. At the start, I wasn't a big fan
You were
of
just
it.
doing it because you were told.
I was told, and I may have cheated a couple of times. But now it's kind of like go to training, and particularly when I'm tired from training, it's kind of like I need to force out someone with a roller. It's kind of the point where you can't wait to roll, and you're just like, I need a roll to, feel.
Hit the reset button.
Yeah, feel better and get all the knots out and everything. Yeah.
And do you mind talking about your injury in general terms? Your injury history, and then last season, the trend that we're on with your body?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing that we kind of worked on in the off-season last year was, so I have a labral tear on my hip, and that caused a lot of kind of hamstring tendinopathy, groin issues, issues around the hip, and...
Because it's fair to say you were always sort of lurching from one little bit of a soft tissue thing to another. There was a bit of that early on, wasn't there?
There was always something.
Niggle to niggle.
Yeah, it was like I would hurt my hamstring or something, and then that would get better, then my groin would come in, and then it would be my adductor, and it kind of all just compiled onto one thing. So I took the decision to not play Seabull last year.
Actual off-season.
Yeah,
An actual
6 months
off-season, mainly because of those injuries. There was no way that I would be able to get through another Seabull season and then a WNBL season on top of that without having a major injury occurring from the hip. So we did a lot of work on single leg strength stuff. My glute med was basically non-existent. So that's, very important muscle, particularly, even when you're squatting and just keeping your legs aligned and all that sort of stuff. So we worked on a lot of single leg stuff to really strengthen that and bring it back, and I kind of noticed straight away, obviously after doing some rolling and stuff like that, because obviously my adductor would try to jump in at the start.
Yep.
So rolling it to make sure that it's not tight for the next session.
You want to sort of carry through with tightness.
Yeah, exactly. So then, we just kept working on single leg stuff, a lot of glute stuff. And
you did great on bilateral as well. Like you increased your strength on your core lift by 30%.
Yeah. I didn't think when I first started core lifting, I didn't think I could get over 50.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I was doing 100 and...
110? Yeah, was that your top?
I think that might have been, yeah.
I saw a 110,
yeah.
Yeah, so... And then just kind of see little improvements in terms of weights, even going up little bits each week. That was kind of inspiring to keep going, and just felt so much better. Like I do 100 and core lift and not pull ups all the next day.
That's what I love. Is that you lift a huge weight and the next day you're like, I'm fine. There's no DOMs.
I think that was the biggest surprise for me.
Yeah, because then you've got the courage to push hard, because it's not like you think I'm going to pay a price for this tomorrow. Like it's like there's no price paid really.
Yeah.
Like, you push hard, you roll out properly, you stretch out properly, and the next day you're like, it's like I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that you're now stronger.
Yeah.
So it's
and just translating that into the court, so everything in here was fine, but the issues that I kind of had as well was going to training, being in the full court, and then pulling up sore in adductor, groin, all that sort of stuff. So I think that was the biggest relief when I got back to training, or even pre-season in WNBL, be able to get up and down the court and then again not pull up sore the next day, especially have some contact and a lot of lateral stuff, and they're doing things that would really stress those areas before that weren't strong. Yeah.
I was a bit nervous as we're coming into that phase because I'm like, I'm pretty sure we've put in like a kick-ass off-season.
Yeah.
And I knew that you were stronger than you've ever been in here, but it was like, is it going to pay off in the way that I hope?
Yeah.
And yeah, it really did. So
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice cameo.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for joining the show.
Sweaty. I think it's more because I'm nervous rather than working out.
So to wrap up, what about us civilians who aren't playing in the WNBL or the Seabold next year? Why is it valuable for, say, my mum?
Yeah, like my mum rolls. I think it's valuable as an anti. If you think about the aging process for muscles, muscles get gristly and tighter as we get older, and it just from a civilian point of view, it's an anti-aging thing for your muscles. Like if you're just doing it, you feel and. Like we carry tension, we all know that we carry tension in our neck and our shoulders. So you can feel it. You can feel it, and it gives you headaches. It's the same thing. You carry tension through the hips as well, and fatigue. And when you roll them out, you just feel nicer. So for someone who wants to have healthy knees till they die, and wants to, like, as in healthy knees forever. I don't think I nailed that. If you like having pain-free knees, the rolling is great, and also just like your muscles feeling supple and young, and so you can stay active. Yeah,
it's like broccoli for your muscles in the same way you know, apple a day to keep the doctor away, a roll a day to keep the physio away, in a sense.
Maybe it's more like flossing your teeth for your muscles.
Yeah.
Not everyone flosses their teeth though.
Well, exactly.
So
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Start rolling first though. If you're going to start a habit, roll first, floss second.